What's up, guys? This is the after show for Startup Season 1, Episodes 5 and 6. Stick with us.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Oh, all I see is signs. All I see is dollar signs. Oh,
Our resident DJ was out today, Kelly, Chaos. So, this was picked by Christine Bean.
By Christine Bean, my girl Riri. Throw it up.
Yep, I give it a thumbs up. She's 1 for 1 as a DJ. Good job.
Nice, thank you.
We're also missing Courtney. So it's just me and Christine today. So welcome to the Startup After Show. I am your host, Josh Rodriguez. You can find me on Twitter and on Instagram at Josh_Rodriguez in store. Christine?
And I am Christine Alexis. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Christine Bean with 3 E's.
3 E's.
3.
All right.
Christine Bean.
All right, just me and you today.
Yeah. It's nice and cozy in here with Christmas too.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
I don't mind. Nothing against Kelly and Courtney. But this is cool. This is cool. So what'd you think of episodes 5 and 6 altogether?
Altogether, I was really impressed. I feel like the show's really getting good now.
Yeah, I agree.
We're getting to the meat of all of the drama that's just slowly unfolding. And yeah, I loved it.
I liked it a lot too. I actually like the fact that they're starting to get along now. I mean, we'll get into it later, but you know, finally, like, we see some teamwork and continuity, and I feel like we're going to be able to root for them instead of having to kind of tug one way and tug another way.
I know.
I mean, we'll get into that later, but I'm happy to see the direction that this season's going in.
Yeah, they're the Rat Pack. They're all together now.
I was going to say, we should come up with a name for them. They don't have a name for themselves.
They don't.
No, there's 3 of them, and if anybody's listening or watching,
what can we call them?
Please. Comments, leave them on YouTube. If you're catching the podcast or the audio version of it, tweet us. These guys need a name. I mean,
Miami's Finest is a little corny.
it is, and I think it should revolve around
GenCoin.
yes, GenCoin and the number 3, because there's 3 of them.
Maybe the Crypto Trio.
Something like that.
I'm so bad at this, guys.
It's okay. It's up to you guys, the listener. It's up to you. All right, let's get into episode number 5, and it starts off with Maddie just coming to her senses in the bathtub, all bloodied. And at first I thought it was kind of a point of view shot, but it showed her, so it was weird. It was almost like it was her point of view, but not like an outer body experience type of thing.
It seemed like that. It's like, I mean, I've been in like a traumatic accident before. Nothing like what Maddie's going through. Yeah. I was a professional cheerleader for a while in college, and I had took a nasty fall, and I remember feeling that disoriented feeling of like, whoa, what's happening? You're kind of like seeing what's happening to you, but kind of like out of body. But clearly I wasn't like hit over the head and left to bleed out for dead like Maddie. Completely different story. But seeing that, it was so trippy. I don't even think she was aware of what was really happening. I guess it was her trying to make sense of everything.
Yeah. And then she finally came to her senses, and by the time she did that, Phil handcuffed her and leaves the bathroom, and then the credits roll. So now we know, okay, she's being held hostage, which I think I predicted.
I think you did on the last episode.
I did. I predicted something like this.
Yeah, that situation had to come to a head.
Yeah.
I mean, especially the way they left us on the end of episode 4. I was like, Startup, what are you doing? Like, I thank God we can actually binge this, because I was like, start up the next one, please. Because like, it was so suspenseful.
Again, I'm trying to stay course with our after show, so I'm only watching episodes 5 and 6.
Me too.
After, I mean, I don't want to get into 6 yet, but after 6 ended, I was like, oh, I want to watch 7.
Yeah.
So I think I'm going to watch that tonight, but we'll get into that later. The next scene, well, the opening scene, I guess, it's Adam and Izzy. They are trying to cut Ronald from the team.
Yeah, that was kind of harsh. I mean, I saw it coming. I think I said that in the last episode as well. The way they're starting to work out this partnership, it seems like Ronald's more of a liability at this point than an asset, because now they have the seed money. Like, he's like that X factor of danger, because rolling with him means rolling with a lot of dangerous people, and I don't think Nick and Izzy are really prepared for that. So I think that's what really pushed them to want to cut ties with him.
Personally, I think Izzy was okay with it. I think Nick was scared.
Yeah, because Nick was the one who was dragged out to West Bumble, whatever.
Yeah.
And like basically fighting for his life before him and Ronald were on good terms. So he knows what an angry Ronald looks like, and I don't think he was trying to see that again.
Yeah, and you can see when Ronald pushed back, Nick's like, okay, no, well...
I can see how this can work out with 3 people. It's totally
and Izzy's
fine.
like, no, we're not doing this. You're gone. Leave.
Yeah, he straight up tried to like order food. Like, let's just change the conversation and order food, and it's okay. And Izzy like put her foot down. She's definitely wearing the pants in that combo.
Well, she wears the pants in every episode and every scene.
Yeah.
That's her personality.
Yeah.
So they offered him $300,000 and 2% perpetuity.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're on Shark Tank, you'd take that deal.
I would take that deal.
Yeah. So if you're Ronald, it'd be like...
Yeah, because Ronald has to also take this into consideration. It's not just his money, you know, it's the whole community who have invested, and he's making these moves without really consulting everyone else anyway, which we saw he was confronted about that when other drug lords were asking like, hey, what are you doing with this money? So I think that he in that moment, that was a sweet deal for him to take. Okay. Yeah.
All right. But he didn't take it.
Yeah, that was my thought. Like, well, he didn't take it, so.
So then next scene is Daewon and Rask, and they're having, confrontation. He asks Agent Rask, did you kill the girl yet?
Yeah.
And Phil doesn't really take too kindly to that.
It's weird because we spoke about this in our, I think, first or second after show about the fact that Agent Rask is trying to play this like dirty kind of cop. We were kind of like discussing whether or not he's succeeding or not succeeding at it.
His character's so weird.
He's such a weirdo.
Martin Freeman plays him brilliantly, by the way.
Yeah, shout out to Martin Freeman. Like, you're killing this role. Like, seriously.
But it's just such a weird... He's so weird.
It's weird, and you see him like crumble in that moment because you're either cold-blooded and you kill her, or you're, I guess take the high road and figure out a different way, but... He wasn't really making any decisions, hence why Daewon's like, yo, I'm involved in this too. You need to make a decision. Are we going to kill her? Let's kill her. Like,
I don't even think he was saying we need to make a decision. I think he's like, this is the decision.
Yeah.
And Agent Rask he just flipped on him. His temper was amazing. So he's just basically saying, no, F you.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that. I'm paying you and that's it. What do you think? If that was you, if you were Agent Rask in that situation... This is hypothetical. I'm not asking you to be a murderer.
Please don't.
But what would your thought process be? I mean, you laundered a lot of effing money. You're an FBI agent.
Yeah.
Your ass is on the line.
It's such a lose-lose situation for him, which is why I sympathized with his indecision and just not his overall just apprehension to doing anything about it, because obviously there's a romantic connection there. They just screwed the other night, him and Maddie, so I don't think he expected the next day to play out like this. I'm sure he wanted to just grab some coffee with her and like go about his business. But now that she's involved, that really is his only way out.
Yeah, I think he actually had plans with her in his head.
Yeah.
To spend that money on her, with her, wherever they wanted to go.
Yeah.
And later on in the episode, we'll get to it. We can talk about it now when she's basically like, let me go. We can buy an island. We can live together. I'll make you coffee. Yeah. And he's just kind of like, that's what I want so bad. What?
It was a sweet setup, but I don't know. It's like you just can't take that risk. Like he's already in so deep.
Yeah.
And just the way that their dynamic was in that bathroom was so weird to me, because on one token she's like pleading for her life and trying to say, I guess, everything that he wants to hear to let her go, and he'll buy into it. And then when she starts to try and get away and actually free herself, he's like, no, you can't go. It's just this back and forth struggle of what to do.
He didn't know what to do. That was the problem. It was mass confusion, because he had all these options and he didn't know what was best for him.
Yeah, the only difference is most people, I think, go through that sort of internal conversation. He was just having it out loud and then like randomly taking it out on her and like choking her out and knocking her out and then like sedating her and then being like, oh, I'm sorry, let me give you some water. Like, it's the creepiest, weirdest like setup ever.
Yeah, but it shows it's actually, that is his personality.
I know.
It's like
crazy.
A painting of what his personality is.
Yeah.
So well done by the writers.
Definitely. This is definitely a dive deeper into who Agent Rask is.
Yes, absolutely. So, and also during that scene with Daewon is hacking the money from Izzy.
Yeah.
And he wants his cut. What was it? 10%?
10% off of $2 million.
Yeah, and then Agent Raz is hesitant at first, but he gives it to him, and then Day One basically starts stealing the money, and Izzy, I guess she got an alert on her phone.
Yeah.
Is that how it worked? That's how I took from the scene. She's driving, and there's an alert on her phone. She sees that her money's being stolen.
Because I'm sure with a situation like that, they have, things set up to protect the money, or so they thought, until Day One comes into the picture. And just seeing that happen simultaneously, I love the way that the producers cut that montage. Day One's like chewing on a sandwich or something, I forgot, and he's just like typing away. And then on the flip side, Nick and Izzy are just like, we gotta get home, like we gotta figure this out, we have to stop this, and they're going insane, trying to like race against time, not realizing what's happening to them.
Izzy makes me laugh. I mean, this is just a personal. I mean, because I'm Puerto Rican, and I don't know if she's I don't think she's Puerto Rican, but just
she's Cuban.
Yeah, Hispanics in general. Yeah, like we're so hysterical. Like she reminds me of my sister, all my female cousins and aunts, like wrapped into one. Yeah. And every time like there's a scene like that, I just laugh because that's what I think of, and I feel bad, but I can't take her seriously almost. If that makes any sense.
It hits really close to home, I guess.
Yeah. So she rushes home and she's trying to have Nick help her save the money basically, and she's telling Nick to go to different houses and cut the Wi-Fi. I don't really understand how that helps, but did you get that?
At first I didn't get it, but I think what she was trying to do was just be the only sort of internet or power source connected to that activity in the area. I guess if other people were on the same Wi-Fi, I guess she assumed that's who else was accessing whatever she was doing. Yeah. But I mean, it's not the case because he was doing it remotely.
That's what it was?
Yeah, because Day One, he was nowhere near them.
He was.
Because if they had knocked on all those doors around them.
Well, yeah, he hacked into her Wi-Fi, she said. But I don't understand how Wi-Fi has anything to do with stealing. I understand you need Wi-Fi for a connection, but why can't he use Agent Raz Wi-Fi? I mean, anyone at home, if you guys are listening, and have
help us out.
Yeah, please. that I got that she had to cut off every internet connect. I just didn't know why. It didn't make sense to me. And then she figures out that it's coming from her mother's computer. Yeah. She smashes it.
Oh my God, that scene. First of all, I mean, I understood her frustration because she's like, "What the hell? Like, I thought you covered it." I think she says that to Nick, like, and he thought he went to every door, and then she realizes her mom, her poor mom,
on a 1987 like Macintosh, whatever it is.
I like have like flashbacks of hearing that weird startup noise from when like I had an old like
Windows 4,
like 96 or something, like some wild old
Yeah, I said Windows 96. That's actually what it was.
Yeah, some really old computer, and she just goes ham, like throws it down and like shatters it. And oh my God, this was like my favorite scene when her mom's like, "What the F are you doing?" And she's like, "Shut the F up," like screaming into her face. I'm like, God.
Then her mom does what every mom in America would do.
Yeah, she gave her the one good. It wasn't even like a 2-piece. It was just that one like.
She didn't even bother with the combo.
Yeah, she's just like, "Girl, who do you think you talking to like that?"
She's pretty hard.
Yeah, her mom doesn't play those games because as much as of a like firecracker as Izzy is, you got to know where she gets it from. So those two head to head, I think is like.
Yeah, and her dad's pretty calm.
He's a chill dude.
Yeah. So that scene, I mean, like I said, that reminded me of. A little bit of family.
Yeah, some family quarrels.
I'm not going to tell you some personal stories, but you get the point.
Yeah.
But yeah, that scene was pretty intense. I kind of want to bring up, this is something I actually wanted to talk about with the panel. Nick's relationship with Izzy's family is non-existent. I feel like he's always in that house, but they never show him talking.
I know.
To her mom, her sister, or her father. I wonder...
Yeah, anytime that he's...
Is that a hole? Like, I feel like maybe the writers are missing something, or do you think that's intentional maybe for something to come later?
I mean, possibly, because that night, I think it was in episode 3 or 4, where they were sitting around as a family and they were tasting her sister's possible wedding cake options, and then Nick shows up at the house, and then it cuts to them being separately. Like, you're right, he never actually like greets them or interacts with them or with anything, which I know in like Hispanic culture and in just Caribbean culture in general, you don't walk into someone's house and not greet them.
I think that's most cultures, to be honest with you.
I mean, especially in cultures like that, like that's rude. Like if I had a friend come over and didn't like at least acknowledge other people there, that'd be weird. I know they're doing some like shady backdoor stuff, but Yeah, you're right. There is a connection missing there, and maybe that will lead to another plot line.
I hope so.
Sure.
It's a weird aspect to the show.
It's
I'm not gonna
weird.
lie. Yeah. So now we're at a point where the money's taken from Izzy. Yeah. Daewon's done his job, and he's like, okay, now it's time to basically kill Maddie.
Yeah.
Brings it up again to Phil, and Phil's like, I'm not doing this. Just leave me alone about it. And Daewon grabs a knife and heads to the room.
Yeah.
The bathroom that Maddie's in, and Phil gets his gun, stops it from happening.
Yeah.
What did you think about that scene?
I knew he was gonna do that, but I just wanted him to have that moment maybe of clarity, in that, like, to see someone else doing what he was contemplating so hard of whether or not he should do. I thought in that moment maybe he decided while he stuck up for her that this isn't the right thing to do. I need to save her, maybe just cut her loose, and maybe I thought the situation would change, but it didn't play out that way.
Yeah, I think that scene showed us that he didn't want to kill Maddie. Like,
yeah.
That was his last option. He was trying to think of option A, B, C, D, anything he could think of that ended in Maddie being alive.
Yeah.
And I think that's what he struggled with the whole episode. And at the end, which I guess...
I mean...
Can we get into that now?
Yeah. I mean, it kind of resolves itself.
Yeah. I mean, basically.
Yeah. I mean, the episode ends with... that very last scene too, where that I think that's where Maddie was talking about, running away with him and doing whatever she won't tell, and really just like pleading. And then when she realizes that's not getting through to him, she starts screaming, "Asian Rask, like Bill Rask," like screaming. He's
like, "Shut up!"
And he's like, "Shut up!" Like,
"Shut up!"
Choking her out. Like, it was so intimate. I love the way that scene was shot. And I felt like I was right there with him, almost wanting to, like, rip his hands off her, like, no, like, stop. And nearly chokes her to death just to, like, have her get up and try and escape. They get into a scuffle, and he knocks her the hell out. And
I know it sounds terrible, but end of it. He had no... at that point, when she tried to attack, he really didn't have... Not saying that I wouldn't have... I am condoning his actions.
I know.
But his mistake was... letting her free.
Yeah. He wrestled with it for so long. It had to end some kind of way. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, I feel like Maddie's character was pretty secondary. She so far has been the only threat to Agent Rask's, like, flying under the radar about what he's doing.
But
she was the one who I think up to this point knew the most, besides Daewon, about what was happening. So he may have neutralized that, but I don't think that's the end of it.
Oh, absolutely not.
Yeah, there's going to be more people trying to figure out what he's up to.
Well, Daewon knows what happened.
I'm surprised he let Daewon walk free.
Yeah, when Daewon looked back at him, he said, if you turn around, I'm going to blow your brains out or something like that. I'm going to put a bullet through your head.
Yeah, I mean, he's not a killer. We know that.
I know, but just Daewon had some balls to walk out of his house and then just stare at him for a good, 5 to 8 seconds.
Yeah.
Like, go ahead, shoot me.
I mean, my question is, if you're so concerned with tying up loose ends, like, why would you let the hacker walk free? Exactly. He was going to book him anyway from the begin with before he asked him for help.
And then you kill him and you get your money back that you paid him.
Exactly. Yo. He wasn't thinking.
No, he wasn't. I think you and I would be better criminals.
I mean... Anyone got some money we can steal?
Maybe.
And
a heads up, by the way, we do have Otmara Morero coming on the show next week, so we can ask her those questions on how to steal money if she knows. Do you think she knows?
I think she has a pretty good idea. This is Izzy, by the way, that we're speaking of for viewers who may not be familiar with her real name.
She will be on the show next week, so we're going to start the hashtag Ask Izzy.
Yes.
And if you guys have any questions for her, tweet at us with a question, Ask Izzy, and we'll ask them live on air.
Yeah, get all your questions out.
Yeah.
And hopefully she'll give us some insight on how all this went down.
Yeah, I wonder if she had to learn certain things though, because my favorite show on TV is Mr. Robot, and it's all I'm a mess today. It's all about hacking.
Yes, it's such a great show.
You watched that show?
Yes, I started it recently, and I'm so happy. The main actor, he just won an Emmy this past weekend.
Yeah,
Rami, which is shout out to him. That's awesome.
Yeah, but what's sticking to this show? I wonder, in that show, they show them how to hack, what these terms mean, what they're actually doing. I wonder if they showed, Izzy the same thing.
I'm sure. I'm sure with any great role that you have to get into character. You have to learn the language and figure out how to go. I mean, when we started the show, I had to Google what a Bitcoin or a GenCoin or what any of that was because I wasn't familiar with it.
Yeah.
So I'm sure to be a kick-ass character like Izzy and know her stuff the way that she portrays that in the show, I'm sure she had to do some like hardcore research.
We might have to draw up a quiz for her.
I know. We should quiz Izzy.
Yeah, quiz Izzy. I like that.
Well,
quiz.
if she's watching right now.
A quizzy.
A quizzy. I like that.
Don't.
Oh, we need a band in here. We need a quizzy for Izzy.
Yes. Before we move on to episode 6, I kind of skipped over a couple things because I wanted to get to the end. But JJ picks up Ronald. No, before that, Ronald goes to the golf course.
Yes.
To confront Lance.
Yeah.
Saying that he owes him, was it like over $1 million in tax money, I guess?
Tax money on, I'm assuming he's referring to the houses and property that Lance built for their community. Because he's like, we're holding that down, but we got to pay the taxes on that too. You can't, I think he said something like, you can't build all this stuff and not
right.
Like, take care of it and come through.
Right. But he came off more desperate and shady than he did actually.
He took a risk. I mean, considering how their initial conversation went and Lance laughing him off and pretty much dismissing him pretty disrespectfully, which we just dissected last episode, for him to come at him guns blazing in the middle of a golf course while he's not expecting it, there was only one way that was going to play out anyway. I don't think he was going to get what he wanted.
I thought he was going to shoot him because they showed him packing.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, God, don't shoot him in the golf course. Are you kidding me? Yeah. But then I was like, there's no way he's going to shoot him in the middle of the golf course because then he's going to get arrested and that's the end of the series, basically.
I think that at that point, that was just a risk that Ronald had to take. I think he was trying to show his worth to their setup because this was after they had met with him trying to, like, cut him out.
Yeah. And
he's like, all right, I'm going to show y'all, like I think he was just trying to show that he can bring more money to the table. It's not just that seed money that paled in comparison to the 1.5 that they had.
Yeah.
Just trying to show why they still need him.
True. And this is going on actually while Izzy was fighting Day One's hack.
Yeah.
So it was pretty cool. They're going back and forth. Yeah. So it ends with basically Ronald hitting Lance and then him getting arrested.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if JJ bailed him out, but he was there when he got out of the courthouse or the police station, I'm sorry. And they drive to, I guess, an undisclosed location, and JJ's like, I want the $300,000. The money goes through me.
I think he gave him about 3 days to produce it.
Yeah. And it's not a lot of time.
It's definitely not. I feel like they're constantly being pressed for time to produce this money, and then it comes and then it's gone just as fast.
That's actually a very good synopsis of this show.
Yeah, in a nutshell.
It really is. I need money. Have it by then. Got you the money. I need more money.
Have it by then. And then we lose it.
Yeah.
Now what do we do? Back to square one.
Need more money. Have it by then.
Yeah.
I like that. And I think that's pretty much it for Ronald, right? In that episode, he goes home. Something's up with Tam.
I don't think Tam is feeling it because in the wake of all the violence that happened at that last shootout, and it seems like Ronald hasn't really been around, and because there's a scene where she's like sitting on the couch with their daughter, like watching TV, and Ronald comes in with a flower for her, trying to be like coy, and that's where you get that vibe that there's like trouble in paradise, because up until that point, she came off as like this ride or die, down for him, privy to all the information and things that are happening.
But my thing is, what can she possibly be mad at? She told him to go gangbanging. Like,
I know.
That was your decision. He didn't want to do that.
Yeah.
And I don't know who was the scene with mother crying, the family basically crying over someone who was dying.
I think he went to visit the families of the people they lost that night.
Right.
That's what it seemed like.
Right. So I don't know who specifically they were, but obviously it affected Tam.
Yeah.
So you told him this is what you need to do. Why are you getting upset? Can you give me an explanation? Can you think of a reason? Or
I can't. I think that's maybe just teasing to something that'll play itself out a little later.
Maybe something with the son?
Maybe something with the son. I realized too with these scenes with Tam, they're far and few between, but they're very impactful.
Yes.
When she does have dialogue, and she seems to be the one who can connect to Ronald on a deeper level and really provide him with insight and clarity, especially when, like when they were having sex and she's like, your mind isn't here, like what's going on? She seems to always kind of like bring him back down to earth.
Okay.
So I'm thinking at some point they're going to have a talk and maybe she'll express why she's acting different all of a sudden.
Tui wasn't in the episode.
I know. What's up with him?
So maybe it has something to do with him. That's the only thing I could think of.
Yeah.
Maybe what happened had an effect on Tui the son, and she's
shaken up about it.
She's a little frazzled right now. That's the only thing I could think of.
Yeah. So I guess we can jump to episode 6.
Yeah, we can jump to 6. Hold on. Izzy had a breakdown. Nick consoles her. I want to get that out of the way because
of course. We can't skip that.
I don't want to skip that because I really do think,
Yeah.
I think it's coming. I think Izzy and Nick are soon to be romanticized.
I love that scene where he, they're just frustrated after she's beaten the life out of the computer and gotten all her anger watching. Out. He like really comes to her like, can you do this? Is it something that's impossible or you just don't know how? And I love the way that he asked her in a way that's not belittling her, but just trying to get her to see past her anger and understand the situation.
I thought it was encouraging.
It was very encouraging because then he follows it with like, I'm going to help you. I'm going to do whatever I can in my power to help you. And there was such a level of sincerity in that, aside from the fact that he's monetarily invested.
Yeah.
But the way he was looking at her.
Yep, and he was like,
it's just McSteamy, Adam.
They got a little close.
Yeah, they got really close.
Yeah. It's going to happen.
I want them to get... I'm going to ask Izzy. That's going to be one of my Ask Izzy questions.
Yes.
Since I'm not jumping ahead. Like, what's up with you and Nick?
What's up? Maybe by then, because we'll be reviewing episodes 7 and 8, we'll know.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
I wonder if they kissed. I should tell us if he's a good kisser. Things that we want to know, obviously.
Things that you want to know. I don't
okay.
So let's just say that their interaction ends with saying, all right, we're going to find out who did this.
Right.
Episode 6 starts with
figuring out who did it.
Yeah. All right. It was Day One. Who's Day One? Day One is the badass hacker man who is basically better than everybody.
He's that guy.
Yeah, he's that guy. It's just like, I can't beat him. Like, he's better than me.
Yeah.
And Nick pretty much blames Izzy for what happened.
It's crazy how quickly he turned on her.
Yeah, and it's not the first time he's done that. He does it every once in a while. But yeah, he turned on her really quick. Like,
they got backed into a corner. All of a sudden, it's her fault.
Yeah,
dude.
I was surprised that he actually did that because he went from so very encouraging to what the hell, like that.
Yeah, like I thought you had this covered. Like we trusted you. I mean, at the end of the day, it's still like math and machines and digital things. Like things can happen. Like she really didn't have any control over that. She didn't have any control over it at all. It took them all by surprise.
And that she's an effing genius. Like,
I know.
The whole reason why you have a product is because of her.
It's like Day One and then her. So you got somebody who's up there.
Day One, Izzy.
I can barely code to save my life.
So I wouldn't be complaining if I was Nick. This is when Nick gets a phone call from his girlfriend, and you see Ronald in the background, and he's just chilling.
Woo!
And she's like, your friend Ronald's here. And
that had me nervous.
Yeah.
Super nervous.
You know what's funny with Ronald? I get nervous sometimes, but on the other hand, I don't, because I feel like his intentions are always good.
Yeah.
So when he shows that side to him that's very tough and threatening, I always feel like he's able to control it.
I think it speaks to his duality.
Yeah.
Like he can turn it on and off, and he knows when situations call for him to be firm and to be understanding.
Yes.
Because like you said, I didn't really expect anything crazy to happen, but I knew that shit was going to hit the fan because his girlfriend didn't know anything.
Nope.
So for him to just show up like that, I'm sure she's like, okay, who's this person? I didn't know you had a friend like that. I'm sure that's what was going through her mind. Like, yeah.
And then Ronald ends up telling her everything, that Nick quit his job, that basically he took money from his father, invested it in this company.
And what's worse is while he's doing it, he's like, you don't tell your girl this? Like, just like pretty much checking him for being a shitty boyfriend.
Yeah.
And it's like, you're not telling your girl. I love the way he ends it too. When he finally leaves, he's like, you better remind him, like, you got a good one here. Like,
yep. And that stuck with her. That absolutely stuck with her. You know, I'm shocked that he didn't tell his girlfriend that he quit his job. I mean, I know that it's a big deal and what you're doing is illegal, but I mean, you have to communicate.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't even feel like they had that strong of. Did you get a?
Yeah, I don't feel like their relationship is that deep.
Yeah, it was like a shallow.
I think if it was, he probably would have trusted her enough to tell her.
Yeah.
Especially after the point where he's now dealing with people that her father knows for money and doing backdoor deals. Like that, stuff like that will come to light. So the fact that he didn't even, like, he's keeping her in the dark, I felt was like, maybe he doesn't really trust her. Maybe it's not as deep as we think.
Well, the whole point of Ronald showing up actually was to ask Nick for the $300,000 back.
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't have it.
Straight up.
Got hacked. And Ronald lifts him up pretty high.
He chucked him. Like,
yeah.
Like,
I wonder how many scenes they had to, because the way they cut it, like this is just from an editing standpoint. They made it look like Nick was lifted like 20 feet in the air, and like Ronald really roughed him up.
Little TV magic.
Yeah, little TV magic right there. But yeah, so Ronald I don't remember how Ronald left. Do you remember how Ronald left that?
He left it on like, you
you
better get my money back
yeah.
type thing, and just lit a fire under Nick's ass.
Yeah.
Things kind of fall to crap after that.
Yeah. So then it transfers into a scene where Agent Rask is basically wrapping up Maddie's body, and it's an ugly scene. And when the episode 5 ended, I didn't know I'm like, she's probably dead, but knowing television, you never know. He could have hit her, he could have knocked her.
I mean, she was bleeding out pretty heavily.
Yeah, but it pretty much confirmed, okay, she's dead.
Mm-hmm.
He's putting tarp, like it was just that scene. And I think this whole episode from Agent Rask's standpoint was how he's dealing with the fact that he killed somebody, and how like he's just we keep saying this about him, but he's just a very interesting character. Like I wonder what's going on in his head. I wish we're going back to Mr. Robot. How Elliot like talks to us.
Yeah.
I wish they had an episode with Rask, just like, hello friend, like
right. Let me give you the rundown really quick.
Yeah. So what do you think is going through his mind? Like, do you think he's panicking? Do you think he's calm? Like, okay, this happened, I'm gonna deal with it. Or do you think he's like, crap, what am I gonna do?
I think it's a mix of both. I think he's still sort of in shock from what happened.
That's
and kind
true.
of going through the motions of like, he knows that he has to cover his tracks and deal with the bloody work of what happened. But I think mentally he's still trying to come to terms with, okay, how do I explain an FBI agent gone missing now, who was last seen with me? Where do I go from here?
Yeah.
So
how do you think this is going to affect his, personality for the rest of the season? Do you think he's going to be more reserved, or?
I think it's actually going to make him more cold-blooded, to be real.
Okay.
I think now that he's gotten this one out of his system, I think it shows that he won't stop at anything to accomplish his goals and to get his money, even if that means someone else is a casualty of that.
That's true, because not like I killed somebody before, but I assume once you kill somebody, like, if you can come to grips with what you did and you become immune to it, like, you could probably just...
So then you become a mercenary at that point. Like,
yeah. So now that what you said made a lot of sense to me.
Yeah.
He probably will become more cold-blooded, and...
I think so. I think he's realizing that this isn't as cut and dry as he probably thought it would be going into it. Like, just get the money back, be on my way, get out scot-free or whatever. Now it's led to falling for somebody, having to lose them, going to these great lengths of getting the money, dealing with this hacker. I mean, it's become a lot more messy than just let's get this money and leave.
Yeah.
So he's got his work cut out for him.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, they show him... I don't even want to talk about it. It's just a disgusting scene.
Yes.
And Nick's girlfriend, what's her name? Do you know her name?
Her name is Taylor.
Taylor's father shows up at the house, and he's just basically, listen, you commit some felonies, and I'm here to tell you that I'm not going to be able to help you when Benedict finds out that his money's gone.
That's all I kept thinking. I'm like, oh, God, this is someone else's money now that's missing. It's like what we said about that common thread.
Yeah.
Just money keeps just going missing.
Yeah. So I think this is pretty much the beginning of the fallout of Taylor, you said?
Taylor.
And her family. Because then, I don't know if it's the next scene, but then it shows him. He's sleeping on the couch, and she throws the suitcase down the steps. She comes down the steps. She doesn't even say anything, and he goes, I'll be out by the time you get home. So he pretty much knows.
It's a done deal.
But you know what? Like, he didn't care.
Yeah.
Like, he was just like, it's almost like he wanted it. Like,
but why care when you got hot little Izzy in your back pocket? Who's making you that money? And she's God, drop dead gorgeous.
She is.
I mean, so beautiful. I want those two together.
It's gonna happen.
Hurry up. I need it. And I can't believe there's only 10 episodes because this is what, episode 6 now?
Yeah.
Things are gonna just
we have 4 more.
Catapult in the next 4 episodes.
Yeah, we're more than halfway done.
I know. I'm kind of sad.
I don't want to cut away from the episode real quick, but how many seasons do you think this is gonna go?
I'm not sure, but I was doing a little research actually before I got here tonight, and Startup is really gaining a lot of attention, and a lot of people have been saying we need a season 2. How can we make this happen? Like tweeting Audemars on her timeline, like, loved you were so dynamic, and people want to see more.
You know what's crazy? I didn't even know Crackle had original series.
I didn't either.
And this is the first original series that I've read reviews on from Crackle that are really positive. Like I've read positive. First big drama from Crackle. Like they finally hit. I don't know if they've tried before. To be honest with you, I don't know Crackle's lineup like that.
Yeah.
But this seems to be like Crackle's like first. Hey, we did it, guys.
Yeah, that's an awesome way to put a name for yourself in the world of different streaming services. There's that shift from traditional TV, but now to Netflix original content, HBO original content, all of these different sites and networks that are putting out original content. So for Crackle to come through with an anchor show like this that got an 8 out of 10 on IMDb. It did. Yeah, that's pretty big, it's really well done. I think it speaks to how much work the team really put into putting out a great show.
I know it sounds silly because it's like Facebook, but I've seen a couple friends on Facebook like talk about the show.
Yeah, no, and everything happens on Facebook these days. So.
But like, if people are talking about you on social media, that's a big deal.
It is.
That's what I feel.
It definitely is. We're super fans of the show. Mm-hmm. We're experiencing it together, just with like our live viewers are and our listeners, and we're falling in love with the show and we're crazy about it. And it's cool to see that other people are too.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah. I'm happy.
I am.
Good job, Startup.
Pleasantly surprised and really intrigued. I love watching this play out, which is why I don't want to like binge it.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, oh man, I'm gonna get to episode 10 and be like pissed because I don't know if they take a year to put out shows.
2 at a time. All right, let's finish this baby up. So they meet Ronald shows up at Izzy's, saying let's go for a ride. They end up meeting it with Nick, and they have this meeting. Basically, Ronald spearheading the meeting. He's like, listen, we tried your way. Let's do this my way. This is what we're going to do. We're going to get out as much money as we can. Nick, how much money do you have? I have about $17,000. Okay, I have $3,000. We have $20,000. What we're going to do is we're going to buy a building, or we're going to rent. We're not going to buy. You can't buy a building with $20, but we're going to rent. We're going to rent. We're going to hire interns.
Yeah.
We're going to play the part because no one in Miami is going to take us seriously unless we play the part.
Yeah.
And I think it's the best idea that they've come up with.
Same. And I love that it was Ronald who came up with it, who they underestimated. They thought he was just all the brawn and the muscle to this operation. But he, I think in this moment, proved why he deserves to be a part of this partnership and put out the best solid idea that they've had so far in terms of legitimizing what they're trying to do.
Right. So then they have the scenes basically where they find the spot they want. They bargain with the owner. He's not even the owner. He's not even paying anything on it. They come to the conclusion that it's $4K a month. Yeah. They, redo. They clean up the whole we have
the whole spiel. Yeah.
They have an interview process, which is, comical.
It was super funny. It was a good comic break.
Yeah, nice and light. And then they finish that pretty much with another kind of meeting when they're eating dinner, and Ronald tries to convince Nick, listen, we don't have money right now. Let's try to get Benedict to double down on the money he gave us. And Nick's like, I don't want to do this. But Izzy's like, that's brilliant. So he's kind of outnumbered. And I don't think they had a choice. I mean, $20K is not going to last you a long time.
They needed more money.
Yeah.
You got to spend money to make money.
Right. And at that point, you're already committing felonies. You're in so
Shark Tank.
Yeah, you're in so deep. It's kind of like,
well, why not?
Yeah. That's how at this point, why not? So he calls Benedict. Long story short, schedule a meeting. Meeting happens, and it just did not go well for the trio. I don't know what we're going to call them. The three musketeers, the three, whatever they are. But he starts asking questions. He's like, do you have any other investors? And they're shady about it. They're like, oh, we can't disclose that information. You know what I mean? He's asked about his money. Well, can I see your accounts? I want to make sure my money's good. And they're like, oh, we'll get it to you by the end of the week. And he's starting to realize.
He's catching on.
He caught on.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think he's catching. I think he caught on.
He full on smells the bullshit and wants to know what's up.
Yeah. So the episode ends with him saying, you know what, I'm going to get my lawyers down here and they're going to figure this all out. And
that just can't be good for them.
No. So I'm wondering.
I guess that
before we get into predictions.
Yeah.
Nick's panicking. Is he and Ronald got their stuff together, though? Ronald's like, you know what? I think because he's done so many, I guess, criminal acts in the past. Like, this is nothing to him. He's like, I've killed people.
Some dude in a suit is not scaring him that much. Yeah.
So their mindsets are kind of different going into this. I think Nick's kind of turning the corner into being like, F it, whatever. It is what it is. So predictions, for episodes, what are we on?
5 and 6. So this is going to be 7 and 8.
What do you think is going to happen in the next couple episodes?
I think that Benedict is going to keep good on his word to have a lawyer look over things, and I think that's going to be their next biggest hurdle to overcome as a team. How to legitimize their business.
I need my money.
And get their money back.
Yep.
The chase begins again.
The revolving door of, I need my money. I need this much. By when? By then. Gets me. Or die.
Or die.
So
I think that's going to be another source of conflict for them. I think it'll once again prove what they're made of, how they dig themselves out of this hole. But then we're also GenCoin needs to get up and running and gain exposure. I feel like in the earlier episodes that was something that was talked about a lot, especially through their meetings with different banks trying to get investors. The concept of it was something that was really important. At this point now, it's about just paying back who they owe. GenCoin itself is not getting past that ground level.
Yeah.
I want to see it actually become what they want. They're working so hard for it to become.
Yeah, me too. But they need this money.
They need this money.
Where are they going to get this money? I don't know where they're going to get this money. I can't even predict where they're going to get the money. Yeah, that'd be hilarious. I can't even predict where they're going to get this money. I don't even know what to predict. So I don't even have a prediction. To be honest with you.
Yeah.
I don't, because I don't know what's going to happen with Agent Rask. I don't know.
That was my next question.
What are you going to do? What is his next step?
Yeah, what does he want to do with this money? I guess,
what does he want to do with the money? And B, does that mean that our trio is off his radar now? Now that he has the money, does he have anything?
See, but he has the money, but he's at odds with Day One. So where's his protection?
Boom, I have a prediction.
What is it?
Izzy, Nick, and Ronald find out that Agent Rask is the one
behind Day One.
And now they're after him. Boom!
Ooh. But how does that even work? What are they going to do? We gotta just wait. I know.
That's when Ronald comes in.
I think that's where Ronald's like, all right, I got this one.
And everybody at home, if you guys have predictions, send them our way. YouTube, Twitter, anything.
Yeah, all week leading up to next week's episode, let's share each other's thoughts.
Yes.
I want to know what you guys think is going to happen.
And before we leave, hashtag Ask Izzy. We're going to have Otmara Marrero on the show next week. She is the star of the show, would you say? Or
I would say. She's definitely such a great breakout role for her.
So she's going to be live. Join us on the live chat.
Right here.
Right here. I'll have my computer right here. I can read your comments. Hashtag Ask Izzy. And we'll get it going, guys. Thanks for joining us. This has been the Startup After Show for episodes 5 and 6. I keep forgetting. I'm Josh Rodriguez. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Josh_Rodriguez_.
And I'm Christine Alexis. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Christine Bean with 3 E's. Love you guys.
All right. Thanks for joining us. Take care.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.